The more you begin to investigate what we think we understand, where we came from, what we think we're doing, the more you begin to see we've been lied to. We've been lied to by every institution. What makes you think for 1 minute that the religious institution is the only one that's never been touched? The religious institutions of this world are at the bottom of the dirt. The religious institutions in this world are put there by the same people who gave you your government, your corrupt education, who set up your international banking cartels, because our masters don't give a damn about you or your family. All they care about is what they have always cared about, and that's controlling the whole damn world. We have been misled away from the true and divine presence in the universe that men have called God. I don't know what God is, but I know what He isn't. And unless and until you are prepared to look at the whole truth, and wherever it may go, whoever it may lead to, if you want to look the other way, or if you want to play favorites, then somewhere along the line you're going to find out you're messing with divine justice. The more you educate yourself, the more you understand where things come from, the more obvious things become, and you begin to see lies everywhere. You have to know the truth and seek the truth, and the truth will set you free. But I'm telling you, there's no doubt in my mind from all the years that I have been able to talk with people in government and science and astronauts and medical people, in my mind, there's no doubt in my mind that we have been created. We are a test tube creation. Somebody has created us, and whoever that somebody is looks like us. So they have taken all those Neanderthal and the ancient hominid creatures, which the world is filled with them. We know they're there because we're finding them everywhere, but they don't look like us. So we are a special creation, which is why the Bible says in Genesis, the gods said, "Come, let us make man in our image, after our likeness." Because for being so great, he's not that great. A bunch of hairy people out there eating each other and living like animals. So let's take one of the females and procreate with her and see what comes out of a connection between the gods and the indigenous creatures here. So I don't think evolution is the question. It's intervention is the question. Not that we evolved, but somebody intervened in our natural evolution and came here and crossbred with the indigenous creatures and created us. That's why 1/2 of human is animalistic, other half is angelic. Because there is that part, like the Apostle Paul said, there's a war in our flesh between the man that we are and the man we want to be. That makes sense, because if we were like Neanderthal or Cro-Magnon man or these ancient hominid creatures, they live by instinct alone. Just eat, sex, fight, whatever. But now we are a different creation. We have a part of the sons of God in us. So we can now design beautiful music, build televisions, and go to the moon and think about the stars and have theology, philosophies, all these, and the great arts and sciences. Where did all that come from? My God, they were crawling around caves not long ago. And we're walking on the moon with computers. So I'm saying that that's a part of us, is that part that the DNA that they put into the humans a long time ago and were kind of bringing us along. That's why we call even humans today are called cultures. You know, that's a particular culture. A culture is something on a test tube, you know what I mean? Yeah, so we are a culture. They have designed us. And whoever designed us, we look like them. And so in the Bible you can say, oh, well, they look like us. No, no, no. You look like them. They don't look like you. Why? Because they look like what you look like, where they came from. they look like what you look like now. So they have intervened in your evolution. And so therefore there's that inside of us is that desire to know wisdom, to know the stars, to know where we've come from. And at night you look out into the stars, you know, ask a child 7 years old, where's God? He's out there. Well, that's right, he's out there. But I hate to tell you this, if God's out there, that means he's extraterrestrial. Because he was here from Cleveland, Ohio, it would be terrestrial. But if God's out there, it means he's extraterrestrial. He's out there. And ask where angels come from. Where do angels come from? A child will tell you they're out there. They come from out in heaven. Well, yeah, walk out at night, look into the sky. What are you looking at? Heaven. So if God is in heaven, yeah, he's out there in the stars. You'll say, yeah, I'll bet he's out there in the stars. No, he was out there in the stars. They are here. They live. They're here. And I am totally convinced that that is the case. We are being ruled by extraterrestrial intelligence. Whoever these people are who are running the earth are highly advanced in science, and they're bringing us along little by little. They are mutating the species. They're mutating us. We used to be back in the 20s, just regular people, poor people working. Now we're getting sophisticated with computers and Hollywood, and we're moving now into the concept of procreating with the brain and the computer, going to the moon. It's a whole different kind of creature is being developed right now. By who? Somebody out there is messing with us. And so I'm saying what you need to do is take back your own humanity and no longer buy into any religious system, no cultural systems, none of this. Start thinking for yourself. Educate your mind. Where do things come from? Where do words come from? Where do these ideas and concepts come from? I'm not buying into anybody's religion, their governments, their systems of education, none of it. I don't buy any of it. For a long time I've been questioning where do we get our knowledge about anything? Somebody's manipulating us. This is why we have something called politically correct. You've got to understand, you've got to go to school and learn what you're supposed to so you can get a job and work and fit in with the society. I don't want to fit in with society. There's nothing about society I want to fit in with, period. I just want to have people start thinking for themselves and asking questions. When I was 9 years old, say it again? What did you say? When I was 9 years old, I was confirmed as a Catholic confirmation, and the nuns told us. She said tomorrow at Sunday at church will be a confirmation ceremony, and the bishop is going to be here, and it's going to be a very important time for you children. And so after the confirmation service is over tomorrow night in church, the bishop might possibly ask you if you have any questions, because now that you're Catholic, the bishop may ask you if you have any questions. Now, if that happens, you do not ask any questions ever. You sit down and shut up. You don't have any questions. And so that's what I needed. So that night, after the confirmation was over, when the confirmation was over, the bishop did say, if you children have any questions, I'll try and answer them. So I stood up to make sure they damn well know who I am. I stood up and I said, yes, I have a question. And I'm 9 years old. And I said, my father works with torches like a welder. And I said, could I take a torch and turn up the fire on the torch and burn an angel? If there was an angel here, could I burn him and hurt him? And he says, what do you mean burn an angel? I said, if I had a torch, could I burn an angel? Would it hurt him? And he said, no, you couldn't hurt an angel. I said, why not? He said, well, fire is a physical thing. It takes wood or plastic or paper or something to burn. You can't burn an angel. And I said, why not? And he said, because angels are spirits. You can't burn a spirit. And I said, well, why am I concerned about going to hell where my spirit will burn forever and you can't burn a spirit? So the priest said, you? Yes, sit down, shut up. In front of everybody. But I already knew what was going on. I already realized that adults don't know any more about the world than kids. As a matter of fact, adults can learn a lot from listening to children. Adults have already got their whole little system and routine going that is nothing more than a manipulation that they've been taught in their colleges and schools. But talk to a child who's never had any of that crap in his mind, and they will ask all kinds of off-the-wall questions because they're seeing the real truth. So that's what I'm recommending humans do. Start waking up. Your brain is like a parachute. Don't work if it ain't open. So start using your mind and your brain and questioning everything, especially religion, especially government, and especially anytime someone is called an authority, because the word authority comes from author. So when they say, well, the authorities, there is no authority. My God is my authority. So I don't give a damn about authority. I don't care about government. I have no respect for religion. I got no respect for none of this whole stinking, dirty system that somebody has created above us and manipulating us. I, for one, want my humanity back, and I want to make my own decisions, and I don't care what Hollywood is putting out. I don't care what's required in service, in the services of this country. I don't care about any of this. I want to do my own thinking. I'll ask the questions and I'll do my own research. And that is very serious, because now you're thought of as a revolutionary. And by God, that's what I am, and that's what I've always been. And I want to lead a revolution, an intellectual, spiritual renaissance on this earth that causes people to say to the leaders of this world, no more. We're not buying it. From here on out, we're going to deal with ourselves. We're leaving you out. Church, we don't need the church. We don't need the synagogue. We don't need your government. And we sure as hell don't need the U.S. government. What we need is to get back ourselves in tune with that divine universal God force that's out there, because I'm telling you, that's where the power is. I've got a whole... So that's what I intend to do with my life. I'm just trying to wake people up. That's all I want to do. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, just one question. I saw a video called Ring of Power. They mentioned something that caught my attention. They basically said that the Queen was the most powerful human in the world.
I don't think that's true. No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I don't think the Queen has much power at all. I think she's just like anything else. She's a figurehead, just like Obama. He doesn't have any power over nothing. Got nothing. He's got no power over nothing. This is a white man's country. This is a white man's world. The white man from Europe dominates the whole planet. White men goes into any country and kill everybody, take over anything they want. This is a white man's country. It's a white man's world. I'm not bragging about it. I'm just telling you the fact of the matter. White people out of Europe have dominated Europe and have dominated Europe has dominated the world. And so England has manipulated and exploited the races, the peoples of the world. The white man has been using exploitation, commerce to manipulate and exploit the whole human race. So I cannot believe that some young black guy who walks in and he's going to take over the old white man's establishment on the earth. Ain't going to happen. No. They brought him in for some reason to make him look like a schmuck one of these days soon. But he is not in control. The men who are behind him is Zbigniew Brzezinski. You want to find out what's going on with Obama? Do some research on Zbigniew Brzezinski. Studied in Moscow. Pure Moscow communism. That's Zbigniew Brzezinski, and he's the brains behind Obama. Obama's just a front man. They get rid of him like they did Kennedy. Here's a very powerful man, John Kennedy. Everybody loved him. Handsome, debonair, President of the United States, wealthy, and they shot this guy in public, and nobody went to jail. Nobody's ever going to jail. Why? Because the powers that be that run this country will kill you. You think for 1 minute you're going to get out of line and be important in this country, they'll whack you so fit. As a matter of fact, the California state has a I don't know if you know this or not, but the mafia have their own license plates in California. Do you know that? Yeah. The mafia is given their own license plates by the California state government. I know, because I've sat with the mob and talked with them. I had a time, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about, how government operates directly with the underworld. And there is one and the same thing. We're talking money, we're talking power. But the governor, it would not look right if a governor goes out and has somebody killed. So they make a phone call and that's taken care of. And the government doesn't know nothing about it, but they get what they want. So in payment, The government makes a contract with the mob. We don't mess with your business. You don't mess with ours. You take care of things that we need to take care of. We take care of you. That's what's going on in California. The mob has their own license plates, and the mob has business deals with the state of California to take care of all the dirty work for them. So as far as I'm concerned, and I've been told by FBI agents, I had an FBI agent call me in my office in Glendale and tell me, Jordan, we've been watching you for a long time. We know what you're doing. And as of this moment, this was quite a long time ago, about 12 years ago, but he said, as of this moment, the government, your government, does not consider you to be a threat yet. He said, but we're watching everything you do, everywhere you go, we're watching you, but we don't consider you to be a threat because people are hearing you, but they're not listening. So as long as people are hearing you, then you're all right. But when people start to listen to you, now that's different. Now we're talking politics. And so we'll have to take another look at you then. I have had federal agents talking to me about what I do. I've had FBI people talking to me about what I do. And I've been threatened by federal government. So I know what they can do, and I respect them because they will kill you. In this country, you can be killed. If you know something you're not supposed to know, or if you're talking about subjects you're not supposed to talk about, they will kill you. Now, first of all, they would prefer just putting you in jail, finding some misplaced comma on your income tax and send you away for 30 years. But if that's not going to work, then they'll just kill you. You'll be killed coming out of a restaurant one night, and there's some lone gunman, and everybody will be there sobbing at your funeral. But the real story is they whacked you because you shut your mouth off. You're talking too much. You know too much, and you're talking too much. So I'm saying that America is in very serious trouble because the people have not been told what's going on. They haven't been told how this world works. The world, I'll give you some freebies. It took me 48 years to learn this. Well, let me tell you some of the secrets that I've learned. One is that nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. Nothing that you understand about this world works the way you think it does. It doesn't. You see, there are two kinds of law. This is a subject I love. I've been talking about this for years. There are two kinds of law on the earth that rule the whole world, but most people don't know that. All over the world, all governments are ruled by what is called civil law. Civil law goes back to a Latin word, civili, which goes back to the word illi. Oh God, I mean, you could go on for hours on this stuff. Civil law, which is called in all countries the law of the land. So you'll say, well, you can't do that because that's against the law of the land. The law of the land is civil law, Roman civil law, the law of the land. But there is a second law which also operates all over the earth identical. It's called UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. That is the law of God in the world of business. I don't care if you're in Japan, in Africa, in China, in Istanbul, Turkey. If you have a company, if you have a corporation, if you are doing business where you buy and sell and make money, you are operating on this earth under something called UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. Because if all countries worked on a different commercial code, then nobody could do business with anybody. You couldn't trust Japan to pay you. Japan couldn't trust America to pay them for the cars, because everybody has their own laws. Under the Caesars of Rome, they established under Caesar that all nations in the empire that do business, everybody plays on a level field. If you do business in Africa with China, you pay them. And if Africa does business with American companies, you pay them. You pay. Whatever it is you're doing business, you don't mess around. The most severe law in this world is called UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. It's the Bible of business on the earth. Uniform Commercial Code. Uniform Commercial Code is based directly on Vatican canon law, on the Roman canon law. Consequently, when a ship pulls into port It pulls in and stops, and it's called in its berth. The ship is now in its berth. Because it is on the law of the high seas, or commercial maritime, UCC commercial law, rules the seas. So when the ship pulls into its berth, the first thing the captain must do is to present a certificate of manifest to the port authorities, which means that the port authorities need to know how much is on this ship that you're bringing into our country and our economy. How many TVs, how many cars, whatever you're bringing, how much are you bringing into our economy. So you have to have a certificate of manifest of what is the value of your ship here. What are you doing? Consequently, when you are born, you come out of your mother's water. Therefore, you must have a birth certificate, a certificate of manifest, because you are a corporation-owned item. You are a human resource. This goes back to the German Nazi concept that every human coming out of their mother's water must be birthed. And therefore you have to have a certificate, a manifest, to see how much this individual is going to make for us in our new world order. I'm telling you that until you understand the laws, the symbols, the emblems, what these words mean, you're never going to suspect how far gone we really are. Did you know, for instance, that your birth certificate is a security on the stock exchange in the New York stock market? Did you know that? Because if you order your birth certificate, get a new one, order your birth certificate, it'll only cost you, sometimes it's free, it'll only cost you a few dollars. Order your birth certificate. On your birth certificate, all birth certificates in this country, on the bottom, it will tell you this is printed on security papers. Do not accept if not on full color security paper. Then on the right-hand corner, you will always have a series of numbers, red numbers, printed on the birth certificate. Those numbers are a security stock exchange number on the World Stock Exchange. You go to any good stock office and ask them, check these numbers in your computer and see how much this stock is worth, the certificate. And they will check it on the New York Stock Exchange and find your birth certificate is a stock on the stock exchange in America. Why? Because you are worth money to the international bank that bought you in 1930. We need to wake up. This is serious stuff.
Keep in mind, too, that what your government pays for, it gets. If you are paid to do something for the government, they will extract from you exactly what they have paid for. When we understand that, then we look at universities and schools, government-financed institutions of education, and see the kind of students and the kind of education that's being turned out by these government-financed schools. Logic will tell you that if what is being turned out in those schools was not in accord with what the state and the federal government wanted, then it would change it. The bottom line is that the government is getting what they have ordered. They're getting what they have paid for. They do not want your children to be educated. They do not want you to think too much. That is why our country and our world has become so proliferated with entertainments, mass media, game shows, television shows, amusement parks, drugs, alcohol, and every kind of entertainment to keep the human mind entertained, so that you don't get in the way of important people by doing too much thinking. You had better wake up and understand that there are people who are guiding your life and you don't even know it. But we're all too busy trying to stay alive and live our lives, and after all, what can one person do about it? One person can do nothing, but a nation educated can do much.